Wanting Bigger Boobs by Cindy Christmas. Read by Cindy Christmas. Sassfire is a 16-year-old girl who is insecure about her body. Her mother took her to the doctor to see if something was wrong with her, but the doctor said she is in good health and she just needs to understand that everyone develops differently. However, Sassfire still feels bad about herself because all the girls at her school have big boobs except her and her best friend, Ruby. At school, Sassfire gets teased a lot. Some of the girls call her flat-chested, and the boys laugh at her, wanting to know if she is a girl or a boy, which makes her feel worse about herself. Her best friend gets teased too, but not as much as Sassfire. Ruby is also flat-chested, but no one can tell because she wears a padded bra. One day, Sassfire decided to wear one of Ruby's padded bras to see if she would feel better about herself. She hoped that the other teens would stop teasing her, but they made even more fun of her. The most popular girl in school, named Vixen, went up to Sassfire and gave her a hug. Sassfire felt great because Vixen is very pretty with big boobs. However, when Vixen hugged Sassfire, she stuck a piece of paper on her back with the words, "I'm a flat-chested padded bra loser." Sassfire had always admired Vixen because she thought Vixen was a nice person, but now she knows that Vixen is a bully. One day at school, when Sassfire was in the bathroom, so was Vixen and her two best friends. One girl stood by the entrance of the bathroom door to make sure no one was coming, while Vixen and the other girl stripped Sassfire naked. Sassfire tried to fight them off, but they were bigger and stronger than her. Sassfire screamed and begged them to stop. That was one of the worst days of her life. When Sassfire got home, she wanted to tell her mom what had happened, but Sassfire knew that if she did, Vixen and her friends would torture her even more. So Sassfire said nothing about it to her mom. Sassfire became depressed and she thought about killing herself. Sassfire was on the internet looking for the easiest ways to die, and that was when she came across this website for young girls like herself who were also flat-chested. Sassfire was surprised to see so many girls her age around the world that were dealing with the same issue as she was. It's made her feel so much better, but what really uplifted her self-esteem was when she realized there were pills that she could purchase that would actually make her breasts grow. Sassfire decided to sneak into her mom's bedroom, take out her mother's credit card to purchase the pills, then sneak the credit card back into her mother's purse without her mom ever knowing. Sassfire had the pills delivered to her best friend Ruby because Ruby's parents allowed her to order anything online, so if they saw the pills, it wouldn't be a big deal to them. Sassfire told Ruby about the pills, and she was as excited as Sassfire was. Both of them couldn't wait for the pills to come. They talked about the clothes they could wear and how good they would feel about themselves when their breasts started to grow. But the pills were taking forever to come. At school, there was a new student who was in Sassfire's class, and her name was Jewel. Jewel was really nice and quiet, but she also got teased and bullied by Vixen because she had small breasts. Sapphire and Ruby liked Jewel, so they became good friends. The day that the pills came, they explained to Jewel that the pills have estrogen, which makes breasts grow. Jewel was a little nervous about taking pills that had not been prescribed to them by a doctor, but they told her that the pills were safe to take. Within 10 days, Jewel and Ruby started to notice that their breasts were growing. Sapphire also realized that she was starting to grow breasts. She was astonished. Every minute, she was staring in the mirror, looking at her breasts. Sapphire realized that her breasts were beginning to grow, and her mom was happy for her because she knew how disappointed Sapphire was in being flat-chested. In a month, her breasts were a B cup, while Ruby and Jewel had C cups. Since Ruby and Jewel were happy with their breast size, they decided to stop taking the pills. But Sapphire wanted her breasts to be even bigger, so she ordered more pills. Jewel and Ruby told her that she was addicted to the pills, but Sapphire told them she wasn't. With her B cup, Sapphire looked so attractive in a two-piece bikini. She realized that the guys that used to make fun of her in school were now interested in her, and the girls all seemed to be jealous, especially Vixen and her two friends. No matter how big your breasts get, I will still always be the prettiest girl in school, Vixen said as she pushed Sapphire with force, almost making her fall to the ground. That day, when Sapphire got home from school, she realized that her mother was angry about a purchase on her credit card, but Sapphire didn't really think nothing of it. She went to her room and looked at her beautiful breasts. That was when she realized one breast appeared bigger than the next. Sapphire was a little worried, but she didn't make a big deal of it. The next day at school, she got asked out on a date. She was so happy. Having breasts was like winning the lottery, because now she was about to have her first boyfriend. Jewel and Ruby also got asked out. They were the 3 happiest girls in the world. Ruby was complaining about having some back pains, but Sapphire told her all she has to do is take something for the pain and she would be fine. Later that evening, Sapphire told her mom that she had a date. Sapphire thought her mom was going to act crazy and say no, but she was cool about it. Her mom said, "Just don't do anything that will get you pregnant or give you a bad reputation." That night, when Sean came to pick Sapphire up, her mom was nice to him, and he was also nice to Sapphire's mom. In fact, her mom told him how handsome he was, and he replied, "I see where Sapphire gets her good looks from." That night, everything was going great. Sean took Sapphire to the movies and back to his place. No one was home as his mom worked at nights, so they had the place to themselves. Sapphire was a little nervous, especially when he kissed her and touched her breasts. "What's wrong? Don't you like me?" he asked. Sapphire said, "Of course I do, but I have never been kissed by anyone before, so this is all new to me." Sean asked to see her breasts. She was hesitant about it at first, and then she took off her bra and showed him. He touched her breasts. Her breast was hurting her very badly, especially when he squeezed them. That was when he kissed her breasts. Although it felt nice, Sapphire wasn't ready for what he was about to do, so she told him to take her home. Sean asked, "Why? I thought you liked what I was doing to you." Sapphire replied, "Yeah, but I'm not ready to give myself to anyone. I want to wait until I'm married." Sean smirked and said, "Okay." That night, they talked for a while, and Sean seemed cool until he became someone else. He pulled a knife to her throat and made Sapphire strip naked, and that's when he raped her. As tears fell from her eyes, she screamed, "Please don't do this to me." She couldn't stop crying. Sean was extremely rough on her. After raping her, Sean dropped her home like nothing ever happened. Sapphire's mom waited up for her, but Sapphire didn't know how to tell her mom that she'd been raped. So she said nothing, but her mom could tell something was wrong. "What happened?" Jim asked. "Nothing," lied Sapphire. "If that boy did something to you, don't be afraid to tell me," Jim said. "He didn't do anything, Mom. I'm going to bed," snapped Sapphire. "When were you going to tell me that you used my credit card to purchase breast enlargement pills?" Jim asked, upset. Sapphire was shocked and didn't know how to respond to her mother's question. Jim continued to say, "Well, I threw those pills away because you are not supposed to be taking pills that were not prescribed by your doctor. And these pills are not for minors." "Sapphire, those pills have side effects that can kill you. The next time you want to use my credit card to do foolishness, think twice." That night, Sapphire called Jewel and Ruby. Jewel wasn't feeling good, and she said her breasts were hurting her very badly. Sapphire told her to take painkillers and get some rest. Sapphire stood up talking to Ruby, and that's when Ruby told Sapphire that she'd heard Sean is bipolar. Sapphire wished she knew that before she went on the dates with him. At school, she realized that everyone was staring at her and laughing. That was when Vixen and her two friends showed Sapphire a video that Sean made of her exposing her breasts and letting him kiss them. The video was circulating quickly around the school. Sean had cameras set up in his room. Sapphire felt humiliated and hurt. "I hope you know that Sean has herpes," Vixen said, laughing. That day, Sapphire ran home crying. She tried to commit suicide by cutting her wrist. She felt like her whole life was ruined, and there was no way that things could change or get better. If it wasn't for her two best friends, Ruby and Jewel, who found her laying on the bedroom floor unconscious, she would have died. In the hospital, Sapphire wished that she did die because her mom saw the video, and the doctor also told Sapphire that she has cancerous lumps in both breasts. Sapphire's mother began to pray. She was a Christian, so that's all she knew how to do. But it made Sapphire upset because she felt like praying couldn't change the problems and pain that she was going through. While Sapphire was also praying that God would take her because she felt like her future was already ruined. Sapphire spent a few days in the hospital being tested like a lab rat, but luckily the lumps in her breasts were not cancerous, and she did not have herpes. However, she had fibrocystic breasts, which are non-cancerous lumps in the breast. Unfortunately, Jewel and Ruby were diagnosed with breast cancer. Sadly, Jewel lost both breasts and Ruby lost her left breast. The pills that Sapphire had purchased online had a drug in them that caused tumors and other disease, so the pills were discontinued. The day when Sapphire came out of the hospital, there was a shooting at her school that left 20 students dead and 50 injured. Sean, Vixen, and her two friends were a few of the students killed in the shooting. Sapphire and her two friends met a girl named Tequila, who was small-chested. But Tequila does a lot of exercises like dumbbell chest press, push-ups, and isometric chest contractions, which helps boost the muscles in her breasts, making them firmer and bigger. Sapphire and her two friends learned a lot from being small-chested. They learned that everyone will not develop at the same pace, but people need to be careful about the decisions they make, because the wrong decisions can mess up your entire life. Jewel and Ruby's self-esteem is much lower than before, so they are thinking about getting breast implants sometime in the future. However, Sapphire has learned to love herself, and what people think of her doesn't matter anymore. Sapphire wishes that she had let her breasts grow naturally, because she has learned that everyone is not meant to have big breasts. However, we need to stop degrading ourselves and others, because we all are beautiful in our own unique way. The end.